128. Bottom paragraph. We're speaking about the various terminologies and expressions and depictions of Hashem, whether it's how he's aware, how he responds, how he relates to our behavior on many levels, when he has to do things. But we said these are all borrowed terms. Vashenaskim, and even the terms that are used, the way they interpret them, as we discussed yesterday, rather than saying God descended, it says his glory was there. It's not he was there, even though God is all over. But because if God is all over, there's no descent, and there's no ascent. He's all over. So therefore, as he showed from the Targum, it's always what? We always interpret it not exactly what the word says. Vashenaskim olov kulonu. He says, but we all agree. He says, it was necessary that brought us to anthropomorphize. I know, that was the word David used. Yeah. Anthropomorphize. Anthropomorphic. Okay? But why? You see, this is what we discussed the other day. Because we have no choice, so we had to depict him. Because there's no other way for us to fathom or to relate to the way he's interacting with us. I'll give you an example. The Malbim, Mishlei, what are Mishlei? Proverbs. We speak about, he goes to and he depicts and he explains concepts which are not really fathomable through Mishalim, through allegories, Proverbs. He says, very often he says, it's as sweet as honey. Torah is sweet. But again, what else? The sweetest substance is honey. As a result of that, if you want to speak about the innate, what it does to the person, when you study it, you say use honey. Because there's no other equivalent to bring out the point that he wants to bring out, but to equate it to something. Not that it's honey, not it's anything else. It's a bit more bitter than whatever. Various things. And that's what he's saying, the same thing. For us as human beings, we can't relate, or we're not affected or impacted, and it doesn't resonate within us unless we depict God in certain contexts. So again, we speak God's eyes, God sees. So you say, God sees. Does he see visually? There's no visual. He knows. It's God knows, he's not seeing. Right? But yet we use the term he sees. No, God doesn't see. His knowing is a level of knowing goes beyond human seeing. We don't even know what knowing really means. Because knowing only means, everything in life is a frame of reference. Right? If you have no frame of reference, you can't even relate to it. So because we know what seeing means, and we know what feeling is, and we know what emotion is, and we know what depression is, and we know what joy is, so therefore we have to use these terms to relate to God. So we have frames of reference. Otherwise, how do you relate to what God is? Even the way he's interacting with existence. Correct. And that's what I pointed out. That's why Moshe Rabbeinu has to tell us, before he passes away, that Sinai, you heard a voice, but you didn't see a form. And therefore, you're not permitted to create an idol, a form of God, to be able to relate to that. Right? That's why, as a human being, we have to concretize something to be able to relate to it. So all we could do is only go as far as what the Psukim do. Beyond that, we're not permitted to say this represents God as an idol. even idolatry, the idol itself is only a representation of the deity. It's not the deity itself.
So by reading the description of God, then you're creating this vision in your mind, but that's not the same as sacrificing it with a picture or an idol. Is that what you're saying?
Correct. But not only that, even in your mind, you're not visualizing God has eyes, as I said the other day. God sees, right? It's the same thing. So even in your mind, you're not permitted to visualize him as a form.
Yes, that's how we're.
No, you're not. No. When you say God sees, what does see mean?
God's right arm.
Right arm. But he has a right arm. He has left arm. He doesn't have any arm. He has no form. But that's only right always represents the more powerful. It represents something which is more merciful. Left always represents something negative or weaker, right? That's all. It's only terminologies or depictions which are only symbols which represent certain concepts. That's all it is. No. He is Avinu Malkeinu. That's a reality. A father has a relationship with a father brings a child into existence. God's not our creator. He's more than a father, and he's our king. That's not this. Avinu. Why is not Avinu? Even the guy could say, but the guy can't say Avinu. Right? Avinu means there's a personalization. It's like Elokeinu. Right? We can only say Elokeinu. The guy doesn't say Elokeinu. Elokeinu means there's a personalization. God only has the relationship with us. He doesn't have that relationship with the goyim. Right? God doesn't see himself as the father. Adam is the father of mankind. God is the creator, but he does the aspect of fatherliness. He has no relevance to the goy as father. It's only the Jew. Lahavdil elef havdolos. Right? They refer to the Pope as what? The Holy Father. Right? David, right? I think that's what he referred to. They have a picture in, no, not KJ, Park East. Park East, they have a picture in the lobby when he visited. The Pope. The lobby. He was wearing a pair of pants also. It's a good thing. To be continued. But holy, what's the Holy Father? What's the holy? Your holy vestments, not the Holy Father. Something else. So that's the Riyavsid Ram Hilchus Torah. That's how Hashem, it's the same idea. The Navi always has a vision. The vision communicates how God in that particular moment is relating to the world and giving the Navi an understanding of many things which this vision represents. That's the Ram Hilchus Torah. But there's no there. Doesn't mean that. I mean, Mitzvah Hashem, when all Jews are going to gather, gathering in exiles, in a moment, it's like the Jews when left Egypt. In a moment, it was 130 millions of Jews gathered in a moment. It's not possible, and they were transferred 130 miles in a moment. What did they actually physically travel the distance? They didn't travel the distance. It's like you're here, and in the moment later, you're somewhere else. Right? It's out of the realm of physical existence. It's a miracle. Right? What we call Kfitza Saderach. That's what Kfitza Saderach. That's the Kanfi Nishorim. And also we protect it, as the Rashi brings over there. An eagle, like an eagle, as much as there was the cloud that protected us. See, what we're discussing now, as a child or a teenager, many things, it's beyond a person's capacity even to appreciate or to relate to, intellectually or emotionally. You can't. But I'm saying it's so fundamental in terms of the fabric or the essence of what a Jew is in terms of his belief. What we're discussing here, who God is, what God is. Yes, kids today, even kids who go to, unfortunately, the day schools, they believe in God. I think so. They won't even give a definite answer. And they say, yes, what is God? I'm not exactly sure. It's so unclear. What is God? What is this? What is that? Of course, these things are never discussed. Never discussed. Of course, unfortunately, even the teachers don't know in these schools. I mean, you have to be, you see what it takes to even begin appreciating. There's so much information you need, and it all intersects to get a slight picture of what's going on over here. You know, you need Ramchal, and you need Maral, and you need Chazal, and you need Chovos HaLevavos, and you need... I understand that. There's so many things you need. Of course, you can't give the full menu, but the concepts have to be encapsulated, and you have to communicate it. Other than the Jew... No, at one time, God was a given. It's all called Emunah Pshuta. People just believed. You believed. The Goy believed, the Jew believed. You believed. Today it's not so simple you believe any longer. When I was a child, you know, on every school bus, here, Maish, I'm going back to Torah when you were a child. On every school bus in New York City, they had a picture on the school bus of a parent with a family in a church, in a pew, kneeling. Family prays together. That was in the 1950s, all over. The whole concept, that was part of, that was a family. You prayed together. Prayer was integral to a family. Like you go on vacation together, you pray together. I'm not saying no, but I'm just saying it was so, it was a given, right? Goy went to church. That's what he did. You prayed. Today, what do you mean? You know, the whole concept of religion is something which is confining and restricting, and it's a whole different understanding. Exactly. Okay. It's interesting, you know. There was an article that was just written this week in the Modia magazine of the four noblest families in America. Every once in a while, they have from different cities throughout America, down south, and out west, or whatever it is. So they had this week, Marietta, Ohio. They have four families who came over at the beginning, late 1800s, early 1900s. And one of the families, and some of the women, the grandchildren, so today these people are in the late 70s, 80s, it was in Marietta, Ohio. So one of them is a barren grandchild. I mean, she's a woman in her early 80s. And she says when she grew up in the 30s, when her Shabbos, what was Shabbos? They all went to public school. They had no reform or conservative synod temple in the community. There was only, all the Jews were Orthodox. Every family, you would sit at the table. You had to prepare the parsha, and they would discuss the parsha. They discussed nothing other than the parsha at the Shabbos table. When you went away from the table, something else. But at the Shabbos table, you had to prepare the parsha. We're talking about people unlearned. But the father, he sat with his family, and that was a crucial and a very significant part of their upbringing, the Jewish upbringing. No, whatever. I'm just saying it was all positive. It was all positive, nothing negative. Okay.